Hey guys, my name is Jenn Carrasco. I am a serial entrepreneur, founder of many six-figure businesses. I am also a skincare creator, an IFBB pro athlete that is extremely passionate about helping entrepreneurs grow their business and, most importantly, helping you and everybody else to own their shit. Welcome to Own Your Shit, the podcast. This is the show where we stop the comparison cycle, we eliminate the need for a secret sauce, and realize that the faster we own the way we stand in our own way, the faster and shorter the route is to creating that life we all crave. So, with that being said, now let's own your own shit. Hey guys, welcome to Own Your Shit with Jenn Carrasco. And just like every start off, I say, please rate and review and like and share. And today I'm fully excited because I have another female apex executive badass on my show today. So Kirstin and I have a lot in common. We're both fucking health nuts. We're Nazis when it comes to all of that stuff. And I guess, we always get compliments that we're the booty girls and the apex executives. So I guess we must have like a really good squat system that happens.
You've got me beat on this one. I just jumped on this booty train like earlier this year.
Do you follow Andrea Brazier?
I don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. So I've been following her forever. She is with the WBFF. Mm-hmm. And on her Instagram, because she's so cute, right? And on her Instagram, like I was surprised she turned around and did like a booty dance and like showed her booty, and because that's just wasn't how she was. And so I was like, okay, well, you're cute doing it, like, right? And then all of a sudden she puts her hands down her pants and she pulls out these little like silicone butt things.
Oh my God.
And I thought to myself, okay, that was fucking good. I like that video. That was, so now I just gave you an idea to do for butt video. So anyway, I totally ruined your introduction. So sorry.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So here's Kirstin. Kirstin, give me your whole spiel, baby.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Excited to spend the afternoon with you. So I'm Kirstin Smith. I am a wife. I am a mother of 4 young children. I'm a homeschooling mom. I now have my own business where I work specifically with moms, busy moms who have trouble finding the time and the energy and the motivation when it comes to their fitness and nutrition. My husband and I have owned a gym here in Houston, Texas for just over 10 years. So I've been in the health and fitness space for a while. But I have always kind of thought of myself, I would say up until the last couple years, I really thought of myself as just kind of being the support role to my husband, the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I didn't really view myself as an entrepreneur. It wasn't a background that I came from. I didn't feel like I really had that entrepreneurial spirit because I didn't grow up with it. It didn't necessarily come naturally to me. When we moved to Texas, I was working on a PhD thinking I was going to go into academia. And, he was talking about opening a business. So once we started having kids, I stayed at home with the kids. I did, the support stuff, the admin stuff. We're also in real estate as well. And really didn't kind of own my shit and get rid of my own self-limiting beliefs and the stories I was telling myself until probably into 2019, even into 2020, still kind of working my way through it now. So I like to say I'm kind of a recovering unhappy housewife. Mm-hmm. And have kind of rediscovered, maybe what my purpose is in life, which has been a fun process.
What did that feel like when you started to find out that you could do really well as an entrepreneur and grow. And you're like, man, I can do this my fucking self. Like what was that feeling like?
A little terrifying.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I think the whole process kind of happened very organically.
Mhm.
I didn't really script it. So baby number 4 was born in 2019. And, having been in the health and fitness space, even, when our first baby was born in 2012, I gained a shit ton of weight. Like I didn't look like myself at all. I didn't feel like myself. I had a hard time prioritizing myself, thinking that, well, now I'm a mom now. So a lot changes. Maybe my body will never be the same. I was one of those. I always start when you're nursing, you just like you lose all that baby weight. That did not happen to me. I nursed that baby for like 14 months and I still held on to that extra weight. But I was a gym owner and I really felt this intense pressure to like look the part of a gym owner. And I was beating myself up in the gym all the time. Well, then baby number 2 comes along. I never lost all the baby weight from the first one. So then I just rolled it into the second pregnancy, right? Rolled into the third one.
Mhm.
Um, I hired my first coach that started writing programming and taught me how to track my macros after baby number 3 was born. That was in 2017. Baby number 4 comes along in 2019. By this point, I'm like fully immersed in this. I'm decent kind of, with the nutrition side of things, which had been that was the secret sauce, right? You know this. It was like I'd been fighting with one hand tied behind my back this whole time. So I really got things figured out at that point. Recovered from that pregnancy in like record time, and people noticed. So, I started having mom friends, neighborhood friends saying, "What are you doing? Like, you look really good. Like, any ideas what I can do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's figure some stuff out."
Yeah.
And I spent 2019 kind of playing around, running some challenges. It was all very low ticket stuff with low ticket problems. And honestly, about the time you and I first met, when we joined Apex in early of this year, I had completely shut it down. And I was like, that's just not going to work for me. I can't get it figured out. I can't get it to click. And I really didn't start up again with kind of this current model that I have until, gosh, March or April of this year.
Mhm.
And then at that point, once I kind of had it figured out and I realized that I had some of the systems and processes, I was building a really strong foundation, then I started to get a glimpse that like, okay, this could be something.
Yeah.
And then as I started to talk to some of these women, right, I started like both scale victories and non-scale victories and seeing how their mindset was changing, that they were realizing, okay, well, I'm not just like an actor in the story of my life written by fate. Like I can change things if I want to. That got me super excited. So that's kind of been the driving thing, figuring it out and then like seeing the impact that it's having
Yeah.
has just been extremely exciting. But at first, I mean, it was a little terrifying
Yeah.
to kind of put yourself out there, I
Yeah.
think.
And I don't think you don't strike me as somebody that's going to call them out on their shit all the time. You know what I mean? So how do you deal? And it's a struggle, right? How do you deal with those clients that are saying, "Oh no, I'm doing exactly what you say I'm doing and I'm just not losing the weight. I don't know what's happening." Hmm. What do you do? How do you deal with it?
Um, Up to this point, so I will share because this particular client made a very public Facebook mea culpa, actually earlier this week.
Oh, wow.
Also an Apex client, right? So I shared it. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably saw it. But she said essentially she joined Apex, her business was crushing it, and she was like, "Well, why don't I hire a fitness nutrition coach? Because this is an aspect of my life that I don't have figured out." So we started working together, and she always referred to herself. She was my self-described worst client, right? She was just not very compliant. She was not checking in. She was not. I was tracking her Apple Watch to like see if she was actually moving and doing some of the things I was having her do. And then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I lost it." And just like conveniently, all of a sudden she loses her watch. But she just disappear for a little while, then come back in. And honestly, I just stayed there. Right. And it took her a little bit of time, and she made this Facebook post that I thought was great, that she just said, I was lying to my coach. And I was lying because I got really caught up in this body positive movement. And to be honest, I was scared that I was going to try it and I was going to fail. And it was just easier to lie to myself, just like I was lying to my coach, that like maybe this is just my body, or maybe I'm supposed to look like this, or maybe I'm not strong enough to make the changes that I want to make.
That is
So
such, yeah. And
it's
it,
huge.
but I think that's even in business. Like I see people do that in business, right? Well, I'm just not going to do it because what if I fail?
Yeah,
Well, what if you don't fail?
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I'm glad that you said that. Thank you.
It's stuff like that that like gets me super excited, because I'm like, that's a mindset shift that will carry over in every aspect of your life, not
Yeah.
just health and fitness.
No, absolutely.
Like ask yourself, what are you lying to yourself about?
Yeah. Well, it all comes back from our mindset because we can all do what we want to do, but it's our damn mind that gets in the way, right?
Yeah.
Or it's the fact that we're retelling ourselves, oh, we're fat, we're fat, we're fat. Well, guess what? We're going to stay fat because we keep telling ourselves we're fat. So therefore, we're not going to lose the weight that we want to, even if we're doing the steps. I mean,
Right.
I still think it falls into our mindset, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just the way I believe. But
I mean, the
so
story that you believe most is the one that you're telling yourself constantly,
yeah,
without a doubt.
absolutely. So I mean, you and I mean, we just clicked from the get-go. Just clicked. And your Instagram, if you don't follow her on Instagram, she's fucking funny. Like she cracks me up. I will watch it and I'm like, I cannot believe she just fucking posted this. This is hella funny.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Look, I'm not for everybody, but I
No.
think you get a pretty clear picture whether or not I'm for you, like
Yeah,
24 hours in.
and that's how it should be.
Agreed.
So let's go back to the podcast, Own Your Shit. Let's talk about a time that you had to own your shit. What was your own your shit moment?
I think an early own my shit moment was I had to acknowledge that I wasn't growing at all. Um and I didn't know how to grow.
Mhm,
So I realized that we had this massive gap in our marriage. My
mhm,
husband was, he's always been in the personal development space, joining masterminds,
mhm,
investing in himself. And it created some resentment,
mhm,
right? Like we got to a point where we weren't speaking the same language, because he'd say, hey, like, let's set some goals. And I'm like, dude, but like, I don't even know what goals am I going to set. Like, I'm literally up to my elbows in human feces all day, just trying to keep people alive. Like, what do you want me to do better than I'm doing? And I couldn't conceptualize, like, what do I want in life? Because I was so just in the weeds of the day to day.
mhm.
And I spent years there, like literally years of just really like losing myself and what I wanted, what made me happy, what made me feel fulfilled. Um, and like, don't get me wrong, I love my kids. I like being their mom. I think it's incredibly important that I'm raising and shaping little human beings. Um, but like, I always use the analogy, like we've got all these hats that we wear, right? Like I'm putting on the mom hat, I'm putting on the chef hat, the housekeeper hat, all these things. But like there's a hat that says Kirstin that like I just didn't put on for
Yeah.
years. I didn't even know where to find it. And I had associated a lot of my tasks that I was responsible for, um, like with my worth.
Yeah.
And, when I became a stay-at-home mom and I had one kid, and, it was pretty easy, especially when one kid's sleeping all the time. I could do the dishes. I could, stay up on laundry. I could do things like vacuum. Um,
I understand.
then you add in all these kids, and I didn't grow at all. I was still trying to juggle all this stuff. And I really thought that, my husband's going out there and he's creating stuff and he's making this money and he's coming home. He's getting, better all around. And I feel like I'm just turning to mush, like I'm withering away. And I can't ask him for money for a cleaning lady because that's what I'm supposed to do. So if I take money from our family to do my job, then, like, what good am I?
Yeah.
And eventually I realized that I had to reframe things because I was watching him develop in our business from like a one-man shop, right? Where like when you're the CEO on day one, you're the only employee, like you're the guy who cleans the toilets.
Yeah.
Like something when you're a stay-at-home mom and you got one kid, you're the lady who cleans the toilets. But now I've grown to such a point. Like if I treat my house
Good.
as a stay-at-home mom, as a business, exactly, then you become the CEO. And where is your time best spent? Right? I got to a point where my kids were older and now I'm homeschooling them and I need to offload 10, 15, $20 an hour tasks.
Mhm.
It's not, the biggest ROI. And so I really needed to flip that switch in my brain and stop telling myself the story that like how well I can clean the countertops
Mhm.
indicates how good I am as a woman or a wife or a mom.
Mhm.
And I had a hard time with that.
I hope a lot of females get some nuggets out of this. This is huge. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was just I think getting to the point where I could acknowledge I also realized in hindsight that not only was I personally holding on to some of that stuff because of my worth, I was also holding on to it because it allowed me to justify my busyness to my husband.
Mhm.
Because he would come home and I knew he was working hard. I knew that it was kind of a thankless job. And he'd come home and he had a lot of responsibilities. And I felt like I didn't have anything to show at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, anyone who's ever been home with kids, your house can be beautiful, immaculate, and then 5 minutes later, it's like a tornado just went through, right? And my husband always walks in right after that 5-minute tornado, and I'm like, "Oh, if you just would have been here to see how clean it was earlier." But that never happened. So I always felt like I needed to work against this social construct of I'm just stay-at-home mom watching soap operas and eating bonbons on the couch all day. Right? Well, I needed to have all these things. I needed to show how busy I was. I needed to have all of these responsibilities so that like I could prove that worth to him as well.
Mhm.
And then I found myself being really resentful. If he was just being absent-minded and like making a mess, I would tell myself all these stories. Well, why doesn't he respect me?
Mhm.
Like he knows I'm just going to walk around and I'm going to clean up behind him. Like he can't pick up his own shit. I got to clean up after these kids and now I got to clean up after my husband too.
Yeah.
Like if he valued my time, then he would view me as a teammate. Obviously, he doesn't. And I tell you what, like being able to work through that stuff and hire a housekeeper, and now I'm like, well, now it's Miss Vicky's problem. Like I don't have to take it personally, right? It wasn't anything about my worthiness or about how much he cared about me. Like sometimes dudes are just going to pee on the toilet because they're dudes, right?
It's true. They have to hold a name.
It's true, and it's not because like they don't like you. It's
Yeah.
just 'cause they're dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that analogy. And it's so true.
Mhm.
It's so true. And I hear from women a lot of times like, you're so lucky you were able to be an entrepreneur and do this and do that. And, I was a single mom raising my son and he came with me to work. Like if he was sick, thankfully I owned a spa because when he was sick, he would go in the massage room and sleep,
Yeah.
right? Because I had to work. And the thing is that I would have loved to have been able to be at home with him until he was at a certain age. Like I would give that up to have that time with him again. It's not something that you can take back. And so I tell people all the time, it's an amazing job. It's a unthankful job a lot of the times. Your kids don't understand, but you are blessed to be able to really hone in and give your all, instead of trying to juggle 50 million hats. I felt like I did a disservice as a mom. I wasn't able to really fully be there for him like I probably should have.
Mhm. But it's
So,
one of those things where the grass is always greener. right? Because I was at home with my kids and I wasn't present.
Yeah.
Like I can look back on that phase of my life and I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did a disservice to them because I didn't have my shit figured out.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't showing up
Yeah.
fully. I was
Yeah.
going through emotions.
Yeah. So I'm anxious for people to know now, what are your goals going forward?
Oh man. Okay. Um, I want to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm really enjoying it. And I feel like there's like a little mini movement
Mm-hmm.
that's got me really excited and really fuels me because I think for me, like being in that funk for years and really losing myself, what got me out of it was fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off just really simple. Like I dropped my kids off at Mother's Day out and I joined a gym that had childcare for the baby. And, I would just show up. Sometimes I just wanted the peace and quiet and I would sit in my car and like scroll Facebook for an hour, like not even go inside, not work out at all. And then sometimes I'd go inside and I'd just sit in a chair, sit on a bench or something and like fuck around. But eventually I was like, hey, you know what? I'm already here. I might as well work out. So I started doing that. I started like putting in that time and giving back to myself. Then I started actually being able to see results. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And so that kind of started to open my eyes to the fact that, you're not that actress in this movie about your life, just acting things out, right? Like grab a pen and write the next chapter, whatever you want it to be. You can do it. So like health and fitness was really my avenue to kind of rediscovering myself. And I think it's a really good tool to use for women to counteract the attitude in society that like we have to give everything to our family because there is kind of an expectation. We all have this mom guilt, right? And it comes from somewhere. And it's this idea that you're not giving enough to your family. But realistically, like what I keep seeing is that there's so many moms that are giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving that like their cup is so empty.
Yeah.
And then they're looking around to their family and they're like, do you guys see me? Do you hear me? Like, can you throw me a life preserver?
Yeah.
Because like, I can't do anything here. Like, I'm so empty. Can anyone just like love me and appreciate me?
Yeah.
And like, realistically, when you can fill your own cup, then like, you don't have to have anyone else, right? Like when crazy stuff's going on, if your relationships got some turmoil, like if you can be happy, healthy, and whole as an individual, then like you're showing up as a better wife. You're showing up as a better business owner. You're showing up as a better mom.
Yeah.
But when you're just running yourself ragged all the time, thinking that you're doing it for other people, you're not showing up the way that you want to.
Yeah.
Right. So like,
yeah. No, I mean, I remember putting my son into daycare to go to the gym and I would feel so guilty. He's in there after a whole day and here I am working out. Like I would hurry my routine up just to get him out so we could spend time together. Like I felt guilty. But even regards like not even having kids now, my son's older, I actually have weekly to bi-weekly massage appointments set up. Do you know that I feel guilty doing that
still,
every week to every 2 weeks? Not for him, but the fact of like, I don't think anybody deserves to do this. Like it makes like I should be working. Do you know what I mean? Like I have that guilt still to this day. And it's something like we need to start working on that process. And, why do we feel that guilt? Work through it. And, I've owned it and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this now. But I still have it inside me. It's funny. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I don't think men so much do that as much as women do. We beat ourselves up a little bit more, I think.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah. 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 So, I have a question, and I think this might be a good question for a lot of people.
Okay.
How do you feel like your transition helped in your marriage? And how do you feel like you guys sitting down and working forward, how did that all intertwine to help?
What do you mean by transition?
So it was kind of like, he wanted goals. You're like, what the fuck are goals? I'm sitting here working. And then now it's like you now have found yourself helping other women and you're understanding this. And how did that help your marriage? Like, how did that blend?
I think two things. One, we were in a place where like we were doing life together, but we weren't like doing a shared vision of life. Right. We were each in our separate little spheres operating independently and like we just lived together. So really getting on the same page about like what our vision is. That helps tremendously simply because it established a level of trust that if I know that we're both working towards the same vision, then like I don't feel the need to micromanage stuff, right? He doesn't have to micromanage stuff because like we're going to the same place.
Yep.
Right. So like you let me work over here, you do your thing over there. We can come together and we can separate as necessary because we've got the same end goal in mind.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a trust in that process that we're going to the same place. We didn't have that before.
Yeah.
So like I felt like he had a vision, but I probably didn't have a vision. And so I'm like, oh, I'm just here like riding the coattails of the Jeff Smith show. Great. Like here to support you in your dreams. So I think that really helped things. Additionally, I think that the process of like owning our shit individually and separately required a level of vulnerability with one another that we did not have before. So I mean, we've been together for 16 years and I don't think that we really truly became like vulnerable with one another until like 18 months, 24 months ago, probably, when I feel like we really like worked through some stuff. Like here's previous hurts, trauma, reasons that, we have walls built up. Cause I'm not super emotional at all. I just like, I wall up and I'm like, oh, okay. Like no emotion. And so like we had to deal with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's shitty to do that. It's not fun at all, but it's like making any kind of hard choice over the, immediately easy instant gratification thing. Like the payoff was down the road.
Yeah.
Right. And it's infinitely better.
Yeah. I agree. And I do think that it's what a lot of people lack in relationships. And I think it's something that a lot of us should talk more about. And I know that even with like my EOS coaching, I bring it out with them about doing things with their family the same way that you do it with your business. Because, for instance, like you can take your relationship or even Kevin and mine, right? We're both entrepreneurs working. But if we don't sit down and say, okay, really, what is our end goal in this? Where do we want to be? We don't know where we're going. Yeah, maybe we love each other, but I don't really know what he's doing to get us to the end point as well as what I'm supposed to do to help him to get to that end point. Right.
How do you support each other?
Yeah.
If you don't know. Yeah.
And I feel like it's even great with kids too, to sit down and be like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm going to be Batman. Like whatever you want to be. I don't care. Like, that's cool. How are you going to be Batman in 5 years? How are we going to get you to be Batman in 5 years? And it's getting them to think about their future and getting them to set those goals. And you know what I mean? And as you start intertwining that into the relationships, like they're just become, I feel like, people that are just go-getters that want to get stuff done. And it would make the world a better place going forward. Because could you imagine your son getting into a relationship, and getting married and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're setting goals. We're doing this. Like it's already setting that relationship up for success. And I think that's, it's our job as parents to show that and to teach that. And I look back now, you know what, I'm 42 and I'm just learning this shit within the last, 3 years. And I look back and I think, fuck, I wish I could have learned this before and taught my son this. It would have been so beneficial. So for what you guys are doing, like, it's amazing. I applaud you because it is awesome. And it's just a learning curve. But that's why this is all out here for people to listen to and absorb and go forward with. And, you know, how do you guys set goals together? Like, I know you set separate goals, I'm sure, but do you do kind of what Amy and Ryan do where you guys get together, or do you just do like a family thing?
No, we do for the last couple years, I think since we've kind of, gotten this train off the like rickety tracks, um, we have made it a point to go away, just the two of us,
Nice.
and really get clear on like what does the vision look like. So we each independently will kind of do a vision exercise and write it all out, right? Write down like what is it that we want,
Yeah.
and then share it.
Yeah.
So that way, like I know individually what he's shooting for. Like,
Yeah.
where is he thinking that we're going to be in 3 to 5 years? And I know where I want to be. Like, if those are in conflict, like we need to have a conversation. Generally, they're not. But also, like, then
Kirstin,
you know
I
how
wanna
to
be
support the person.
she says in her thing, I'm going to be a porn star in 2 years. No, just kidding.
That old OnlyFans account, right? Just a little. Everyone's looking for a side hustle, right?
Hey.
No. No, my husband would be like, that'll pay cash for some real estate. I'm down.
Yep.
I'm joking. It's a joke. But no, so we share visions and then just kind of figure out what are our goals for the next year. I like doing different categories. So like personally, professionally, family, relationship, financially, all that stuff. Fitness as well. And then I just throughout the year do like 90-day action items.
Nice.
So I can kind of chunk up the bigger goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I like.
But that's it.
Awesome. So I know I kind of keep these podcasts a little short and sweet. But what do you feel like you can give out to people, little tidbits or something that you feel strong that's inside you that you want to share for like own your shit or what you think would help? What is it that you feel like you want to share?
One thing that's been on my mind since I guess last time I saw you when we were in Dallas, our friend Stacey Rasky spoke. She talked about boundaries.
Yes.
And that one has just been kind of mulling around in my mind a lot because the point that she made that I will share with your audience is that we talk about boundaries and the way that we internally interact with others. That's generally the way that it's taught, but you don't stop there.
Yep.
So the point that she made was that the number one tool for healthy boundaries is the rule no disrespect. So people don't disrespect your time, your body, your vision, your goals, your energy, none of it. That's the rule. And we're usually pretty quick to hold that line with other people, right? We don't like it doesn't feel good when other people disrespect us. But what was the light bulb moment for me was she said, you have one set of boundaries and you have to apply them to yourself and like own your shit in your bubble before you can impact anything outside of your bubble, right? You can't control what other people are doing. It's not your responsibility. So if there's a situation in your life where like someone else is disrespecting you, a really good question to ask yourself is, what are you doing that is disrespecting your time, your body, your energy, your goals, your vision, all of it? And if you are not maintaining that boundary with yourself and actually standing by that rule of no disrespect, then you're not in a place to get mad at other people for their perceived level of disrespect. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I love that. And I've been using that like every day since we came back from Dallas. Cause I'm like that literally every time I can think of in my life that, I've been mad that somebody lied to me. Like, cause honesty is one of my core values. I don't handle hypocrisy. I don't handle lying well at all. But there are times I lied to myself and I let myself get away with it.
Yeah. We're our own worst critics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So treating yourself like someone you love and maintaining that boundary of no disrespect.
Yeah. I've always said, I mean, of course, Stacy says it way better. But I've always said before is I would never, we never speak to ourselves. Like we would never speak to our children the way we speak to ourselves. So why would we speak to ourselves that way? Right? Why would we do that to ourselves? Because we're belittling ourselves. We're
For sure.
beating ourselves up. And a lot of us do it. So no, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Well, I wish I could take credit for it, but it's the great Stacey Ratsky.
That's okay. You can still say it. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for hanging.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So again, everybody needs to go follow her, especially her freaking Instagram because it's hilarious. I'm going to share all of it when I launch this anyway. But thank you for taking time out. I appreciate you, and I look forward to hanging with you in January again. And you're kicking ass, girl.
Thank you. It's just fun being around other ass kickers. Makes you want to do big stuff. So thanks for setting the bar high.
It is. I agree. You know what we should do? And this would totally make Danny happy. We should get those silicone asses and put them in. Anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just want to see your browser history as you search for fake ass implants.
In Apex Executives.
Oh God. It's hard work building an ass. So I've been at it for months. So those silicone fake ass implants might be.
You just gotta hit that booty and you gotta eat. You gotta eat.
Oh, it's work, full-time job.
It is. I know. Full-time growing that ass. I'm with you. All right. Thank you, my love. Okay.
Thank you.
Have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, that's a wrap for another episode of Own Your Own Shit. Now that this is half the battle, owning your shit allows you the freedom to create something even better in your life. Getting out of your own way, it doesn't have to be lonely. Making sure to follow me for more advice. Follow me on every social media platform at Jenn Carrasco. My Instagram is Jenn Carrasco with 2 underscores. Find me on Facebook at the same name. And of course, share the episode with friends who need some help in the tough times, and typically helping them to own their shit. So with that being said, see you guys next week.